Every up sets us back instrumentally. With that 250 being our only vehicle right now, we got to make it work or we're not going to hit our goal.
Every setback was like a punch to the gut, especially since that 250-foot stretch was their lifeline. Their success depended on making it work somehow, but Fred Lewis just got hit by a major disaster during the gold rush. If they couldn't recover, their dreams would slip away.
Yeah, you know, this took way longer than we wanted it to, but the best thing I took out of today is I'm seeing my guys work with Brandon's guys. I'm seeing fist bumps. Everyone's stressed, and this is not what we want to be doing, but we're doing it together, and that's what keeps me happy.
Managing his crew while being a father on the job wasn't easy for Fred, and now the pressure was even greater. Did Fred survive this crushing blow and save his team from ruin? Let's see if Fred and his team were able to pull through against all odds. Buzz's 30-year, everlasting friendship. Buzz had been a reliable friend for over 30 years. Their relationship was built on shared experiences in the timber industry. He handled Buzz's wood sales, chopped his firewood, and managed his lumber mill. Their partnership had been steady, rooted in mutual trust and understanding. One night, Fred Lewis walked in, and the conversation shifted to business. Before long, Fred offered him a job. Working with Fred brought new opportunities, but also new challenges. The 250-foot section in the plant was critical to their success, and any malfunction could lead to significant setbacks. Despite the risks, he couldn't afford to falter. He pressed on, driven by an unwavering resolve to succeed.
You know, it's been a pretty tough week. I kind of look back at this week as really being a bad week, but we've overcome a lot. Breakdowns and the wash plant going down and, you know, bull, and we're still pulling gold in.
The pressure of being both a leader and a parent weighed heavily on his shoulders. Balancing authority and empathy was no simple task. He had to guide the team while ensuring his son understood the importance of responsibility and hard work. Each day brought triumphs and trials. The machinery often faltered under strain, threatening their progress. But with patience and ingenuity, they kept things running. The team learned to improvise, fixing problems on the fly and finding creative solutions to unexpected issues. The plant roared back to life each time, a testament to their collective determination. During challenges, his relationship with his son evolved. There were tense moments, but there were also glimpses of camaraderie. They were united by a shared goal, and over time, his son began to understand the sacrifices required to keep the operation going.
My mining career's over. I'm not going to be able to continue. Small goal way, but honestly, it's not enough.
Fred Lewis provided guidance and advice whenever needed. His experience and insight were invaluable. Buzz, too, was always ready to help, and together they formed a tight-knit team, bound by their shared ambitions. As weeks passed, the team inched closer to their goals. The 250-foot stretch remained a focal point, a symbol of their resolve. Despite setbacks and challenges, they pushed forward, driven by the hope of striking gold. The plant hummed with renewed energy each day. The machinery groaned and creaked, but it held together, a testament to their skill and perseverance. Every member understood the stakes and gave their all to keep things moving smoothly. Being both a boss and a father continued to be a balancing act. He learned to listen more and speak less, trusting his son's judgment while offering guidance when needed. The challenges of the job and demands of parenthood often blurred, but he remained committed to both roles. Success was never guaranteed, but each day they faced their tasks with optimism, determined to find a way through. Setbacks only strengthened their resolve, and the progress they made reflected their unwavering dedication. The plant stood tall as a symbol of their spirit. They moved forward with optimism, striving to reach their goals step by step. Life was a juggling act, a delicate balance of roles to prevent everything from falling apart. The son struggled to meet the job demands despite his best efforts. His contribution was uncertain, but family ties required difficult choices. Even though his productivity was inconsistent, loyalty to the family kept him involved. Expectations weighed heavily on them, but the team remained focused on their main objective. The 250 inches machine was their lifeline.
Well, I'm not trying to insult you, Christopher. Right now, the fact of the matter is we need the plant running, and if it's a problem that's caused by an operator, we have to figure out why. All right?
Well, that's a pretty decision.
Holding everything together. A breakdown would set them back so far that their goals would slip beyond reach. Every member understood the importance of keeping it operational. Taking a deep breath, they embraced the task ahead with confidence, hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. The harsh nature of the mining industry taught them resilience, and they leaned on that strength to press forward. For nearly 20 years, the crew had worked hard at Well Gold and Bubas Coal, putting in long hours daily. Today they were back on the job, dealing with familiar problems. Buzz knew the team was giving their best effort. He climbed down the pile of coal, ready to help out. "You could have left it in a better spot," he joked lightly. "Let's fix it so we can get back to work." With tools in hand, the crew got to work, tightening bolts and lining up the track carefully. They knew this was just one of many problems they would face, but their determination helped them push through together. As the day wore on, the hum of machinery filled the air. Dust and sweat covered their faces as they pushed through, each person playing a crucial role in the mining operation. The plant's towering structure stood as a testament to their dedication, a beacon of hope amid the daily grind. But bigger challenges and sacrifices were waiting to test their teamwork. Major setbacks in the way. Despite the obstacles, they remained united by a shared vision, determined to make it work. Setbacks only strengthened their bond, and each success, no matter how small, was celebrated. Every repaired track and solved problem brought them closer to their goals. The days stretched long under the relentless sun, and the nights were filled with restless sleep. But the crew kept pushing forward, united by the belief that their hard work would yield rewards. They understood that the trip was filled with challenges, but their unwavering spirit remained their strongest asset. For them, success wasn't just reaching a distant goal, but finding fulfillment in the trip itself. The plant, with its complex machinery and dust-covered tracks, stood as a testament to their perseverance and unbreakable spirit. They approached each day with optimism, determination to make it work, and a relentless drive to reach their goals one step at a time.
Every up sets us back instrumentally, with that 250 being our only vehicle right now. We got to make it work, or we're not going to hit our goal.
However, the path ahead was far from smooth. They frequently found themselves grappling with machinery breakdowns and dwindling supplies. Every crew member understood the importance of keeping the plant running. The 250 inches machine was their lifeline, a vital piece holding the operation together. Buzz often stayed late into the night, working tirelessly to keep the machinery functional. His grease-stained hands and sweat-soaked brow showed the crew's dedication. They tightened bolts, realigned tracks, and replaced worn-out parts with a precision born from practice. Exhaustion clung to them like a heavy coat, but they pushed through, knowing that one breakdown could halt their progress. The plant stood tall in the distance, a silent witness to their determination. Dust swirled in the air, settling on their faces and clothes as they labored. The harsh clang of metal on metal echoed across the grounds, mingling with the steady hum of machinery. Every member of the crew understood that their contribution was crucial. Buzz knew their success relied on every part working together seamlessly. Even the son, despite his uncertain productivity, played his part. Loyalty to the family demanded it, and the team embraced him with unwavering support. As weeks turned into months, they moved closer to their goals. The setbacks and challenges only strengthened their resolve. Every repaired track and problem solved brought them nearer to success.
With no rock truck, Buzz and I had a talk. We're going to do something drastic. We're going to Freedom Cut.
Though the nights were sleepless and their bodies weary, they never lost sight of their shared vision. The crew learned to find joy in the small victories. Every successful day was marked by a silent nod or a shared smile. Each morning they gathered their tools and walked to the plant with purpose. They knew the stakes were high, and failure wasn't an option. The machinery rumbled to life each day, guided by their steady hands and unwavering focus. The dust-covered tracks told a story of determination and unity. Buzz and the crew worked side by side, often with aching muscles and weary minds. Their laughter and camaraderie cut through the haze of dust and noise, creating moments of levity amid the hard labor. They faced countless challenges as they moved toward their goals. Machinery that once seemed reliable would break down unexpectedly, forcing them to improvise and adapt. The crew quickly learned to rely on one another's strengths, whether it was Buzz's expertise with tools or the son's fresh ideas. Despite their fatigue, the crew pressed on, encouraged by the thought of reaching their shared vision. The plant's hum became a familiar melody, and the clang of metal on metal, a rhythm that guided their days. They found satisfaction in the progress made and pride in overcoming each challenge. The nights remained restless, but hope never wavered among the crew.
I just got a call from Parker. He's passing by our mine site on his way to his Alaska claims. I asked him to come and check out the operation.
The plant stood tall against the desolate landscape, and each new day brought them closer to their goals. Harsh realities like machinery breakdowns and dwindling supplies couldn't dampen their spirit. Dust-covered tracks marked their progress, and their unbreakable will pushed them forward. The rhythmic clang of metal, the rumble of engines, and the grinding of gears became the soundtrack of their determination. Their unwavering belief in one another and their shared purpose created a bond stronger than steel. The crew moved through each day with fierce determination, driven by a vision that kept them united. As the sun rose and set, they labored on, one step at a time, embracing the trip and finding fulfillment in each new challenge. Every bolt tightened and stubborn pin hammered into place was a small victory that reaffirmed their resilience. Still, their toughest challenges were just around the corner: the silent tracks. In the heart of the plant, the towering structure loomed large, a monument to their dedication. Dust-covered tracks snaked around the site, symbolizing the relentless grind of daily toil. The plant stood as a beacon of hope amid the chaos of machinery breakdowns and shifting sands, a testament to their perseverance. The dusty boots of the workers traced paths through the grime, marking their progress like lines on a map. Each day brought new frustrations, the kind that gnaw at patience like rats at ropes. The track in particular was a constant source of irritation, with pins that popped loose and bolts that refused to stay tightened. The machinery, coated in layers of mud, needed a power wash every other hour. But the crew faced these challenges with stubborn persistence. Fixing the track felt like patching up a leaky boat with duct tape, but they did it because that's what had to be done. Buzz, their unofficial leader, often wore a tone of thinly veiled annoyance, yet he pushed forward. "Let's get it fixed," he would say, his voice tinged with exasperation. The crew knew that behind his gruff demeanor was an unwavering resolve to keep things moving. Each time the track slipped off or a bolt came loose, they'd mutter under their breath, cursing the day this contraption was put together, but they'd wrestle it back into place regardless.
So we're looking at 2,100 yards this week. Obviously, we had a lot of problems with that damn 250 track. We had to put it up on the mound.
The work was repetitive and grueling, with mud-caked machinery that seemed to be more trouble than it was worth. They spent more time fixing equipment than using it to dig up gold or coal. But there was a strange pride in it, a badge of honor that came from their relentless drive to keep going. Even when the track inevitably popped off again, they'd get her back on, crank up the machinery, and return to work like clockwork. The crew worked tirelessly in the unforgiving landscape, finding purpose in every small success. Each stubborn pin hammered into place and loose bolt tightened brought a sense of accomplishment. They understood that their trip wasn't just about reaching a final goal, but also about embracing the daily grind. Every new day began with unshakable optimism, each member determined to overcome challenges step by step. The road ahead was long, but a shared vision united them, propelling them forward with unwavering determination to succeed. Sometimes the days seemed endless and exhausting. Doubts occasionally crept in, leaving some to wonder why they were even out there. But they quickly remembered the practical reasons that kept them going: the job, the paycheck, and the gritty camaraderie of fixing broken machines with calloused hands and sore backs. Despite the constant setbacks, they stayed the course, knowing that the track would inevitably pop off again, because that was just how it went. A resigned understanding of their realities settled among the crew. There was no hope of getting new equipment anytime soon, so they continued to curse and grumble while hauling tracks back into place and hammering pins like they always did.
The wash plant, I would say at this point, is functioning 100% properly. Everything's working the way it should. The only way we're going to hit that goal is to keep that plant running, so.
It was a harsh life, but that's how they made a living. Their equipment was supposed to work like a shock absorber, softening the blows of their relentless work. But instead, it seemed more like a calm sea, providing no movement or relief whatsoever. Rather than absorbing the impact, all that tension simply wrecked the pins, rendering the entire shock system practically useless. Every breakdown meant not just lost time, but also potential gold slipping through their fingers. The gold was still buried deep in the ground, but it wasn't finding its way into their sluice box. So they were at it again, poking around like clueless amateurs, trying to uncover what was causing the malfunction. Perhaps the system was clogged or jammed, or maybe it was just the universe playing tricks on them. They pulled out parts, wiggled them around, and hoped that something would finally fall into place. Despite the frustrations, there was always a moment when one of them would strut around with a smug grin saying, "Well, well, well, I bet you're feeling pretty foolish right now for blaming me." They laughed off their earlier accusations and petty squabbles, knowing the machinery had simply fallen apart on its own. They quickly returned to work, understanding that every wasted moment meant lost gold. With every passing second, they were hemorrhaging potential riches. Yet, despite their best efforts, the machinery remained as stiff as a board. The crew felt like sitting ducks in a gold mine, watching their fortunes slip through their fingers. But they didn't despair. They patched up the damaged parts, pushed the 250 up on the feed, and kept the plant humming, determined to keep the operation afloat. They rolled up their sleeves and got to work. With broken machinery and little time left, could they still reach their big goal? A 100-yard major challenge. The crew focused on wedging the idler back into place so they could reassemble the track. Chris carefully lowered the machinery, adjusting it bit by bit until everything was aligned perfectly. With a little more guidance, it finally came together smoothly. Once the track was back in place, it was time to connect everything to maintain the correct tension. With a steady hand, Chris hammered it down until it was secured firmly. Back on the wheel, he thought, and track tensions holding. Time to get this rig back up the pile. They fired up the plant and the machine rumbled to life once more. The team watched carefully as it moved back and forth, ensuring that everything was working properly. With a satisfied nod, Chris knew it was time to get to work. The team had their sights set on moving 2,100 yards this week, but the stubborn 250 track had caused delays, forcing them to perch the machinery precariously on the mound. What should have been a day-and-a-half job now loomed as a week-long struggle. Equipment issues couldn't be an excuse for missing their target. They needed solutions quickly. If it meant overhauling the mining plan to maneuver around these obstacles, then so be it. They had to adapt to survive. It wasn't just about effort, but also about efficiency. The bottom line wouldn't care if they complained about breakdowns. Dead weight was dragging them down, and they couldn't afford to drown in delays. Adapt, improvise, or risk falling further behind. Ray stepped up to take stock of the situation, counting off 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15 and a half. A smile crept across his face. Not bad, actually.
And 1 is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 12.645.
If we move 2,100 yards and pull 15 ounces from it, we're easily above our target of 9 to 10 ounces a day. The goal within reach. The team nodded in agreement, but Chris knew they could do better. That number's nice and all, but we can push for 50 ounces. We just need to stay focused and keep working. Samson, on the other hand, wasn't as enthusiastic. He was yawning dramatically and scratching his head. I'm off shift, man, going back to bed. But sleep was a luxury they couldn't afford, especially with gold waiting to be unearthed. Let's get out there and make it happen. Samson, you've got some digging to do. Despite the challenges, the team dug deep and set to work, determined to make up for lost time. They maneuvered the equipment carefully up the pile, inch by inch, until everything was in position. The machinery roared back to life, and the crew wasted no time shoveling rock and dirt into the processing plant. Hours passed, and the sun dipped low on the horizon. Exhaustion settled over the team, but the determination in their eyes burned brightly. By the end of the day, the pile had shrunk considerably, and the sluice was running full of muddy water and gravel. Gold flecks glinted in the pan, a promising sign of things to come.
I mean, look at that.
That's hard to come
And this
by.
is really pure gold. It's probably like 90, 91.
91, 92.
Look at that.
After a long shift, the crew gathered around Ray as he tallied up the day's haul, 15 ounces, just like he'd predicted. They were on track to meet their goal, but Chris still had his eyes on the prize. We can do better, he insisted. Tomorrow we'll hit 50. Is Chris pushing the team too hard in the pursuit of gold, or is his relentless drive exactly what they need to succeed? Let us know your thoughts, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.